connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Good morning, Idaho, and happy Monday, everybody. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. Hope you had a great weekend. We had beautiful weather over the weekend. It's going to be changing a bit today. We've got a lot to get to this morning from our large team of neighborhood reporters. They are bringing you more local stories than anyone else in our area, like our Victoria Rodriguez, outlining new details in the case against a Nampa pastor charged with 13 felonies related to child porn, raising additional concerns about the unregulated use of AI. Plus, a story new this morning, our Riley Shoemaker bringing us the latest on vaccine recommendations after a whirlwind week from the federal health department stirred controversy and confusion among parents and doctors. Those stories and much more to come. But first, let's get the latest on our weather. Sophia Cruz, it was a beautiful weekend.
Yeah, the weekend was perfect for outdoor activities. Yeah. I know that the Boise State game happened over the weekend, and it was just honestly really nice weather. Now, we are still expecting those changes to arrive today, and as we head through the start of our week together, you'll notice rain chances have increased across the area. A lot of them getting upwards between 40% in Fairfield, 60% in Stanley to 50% in Boise. So while for the start of the day, you won't notice too many changes just yet. It'll be very quiet, a little bit more cloudy, and we do keep that chance of showers and storms with us. It gets a little bit higher into lunchtime, and by the afternoon ahead, we're also sitting in the 80s. But the bigger changes are going to arrive tonight. That's when we're expecting a lot of the heavier rain to move through. So by the time we head to 7 o'clock, to those overnight hours, Roland, it'll be a rainy, pretty night ahead of us.
Oh boy, here we go. Thanks, Sophia. Appreciate it. We turn now to a couple of bizarre cases from over the weekend. Details are limited in both of them this morning, but we start with our Leslie Solis and the discovery of a body on the Boise bench.
I'm our neighborhood reporter, Leslie Solis. I'm at the Republic Services in the Boise bench, where police have confirmed a body was discovered on Friday. Idaho News 6 first learned about the discovery just before 5 after a tip was called in by an anonymous viewer. When I arrived, police had already removed crime tape and had left the area. Police say they are investigating and aren't releasing any more details at this time. This is a developing story. We'll have the latest information for you on IdahoNews6.com as it becomes available. I'm your neighborhood reporter, Leslie Solis, for Idaho News 6.
A married couple from Boise is facing a combined 120 criminal charges that include felony stalking and witness intimidation. Details on their alleged crimes are limited at this time, but court documents show that 43-year-old Jonathan Daniel Harms and 39-year-old Jolene Lynn Harms were arraigned in Ada County Court Friday, and the presiding judge set bond for both of them at $15 million. Their charges include 20 counts of felony stalking, 10 counts of felony witness intimidation, and 21 counts of misdemeanor witness intimidation. A preliminary hearing is set for October 6th, and we'll continue to follow this case for you closely.
New details in the case against a Nampa pastor charged with 13 felonies for possession and distribution of child pornography. I'm your neighborhood reporter, Victoria Rodriguez, with a copy of that probable cause affidavit that offers new information on what police say they found inside of his church and how they say he used artificial intelligence to create some of those images in question. We're learning more about how local investigators with Idaho's Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force served search warrants at Pastor Matthew Maswitz's Nampa home and his church, Sovereign Grace Fellowship. In court documents Idaho News 6 received through a public records request, officials say some of the child porn was uploaded from the IP address at the church. Investigators also say they found disturbing videos involving children on the pastor's computer and cell phone. That affidavit says when police questioned him at his home, Maswitz initially denied any involvement. But when detectives referenced their knowledge of his activity on the app Kik, they say he stood up, put his hands behind his back, and said, quote, "I'm going to own this." As we previously reported, prosecutors say he used the messaging app to distribute those images. During questioning, investigators say Maswitz denied physical contact with any juveniles, but admitted to using artificial intelligence to alter adult pornography so that women would instead look like children. Investigators say the suspect had since deleted the app in an effort to, quote, walk in repentance and didn't think what he was doing was illegal, telling detectives the Kick app was dark and it pulls you in. The affidavit says the pastor's own wife also started questioning his actions in front of detectives. Documents say he said his addiction started a long time ago and that he felt he had to hide it because he was a pastor. I've reached out to Sovereign Grace Fellowship multiple times for comment but have not yet heard back. Pastor Masowitz is no longer on the church's website in any way. Masowitz is expected back in court on October 7th. Reporting in Nampa, I'm your Canadian County neighborhood reporter Victoria Rodriguez for Idaho News 6.
Boise police this morning investigating a false report of an active shooter at the Jewish Center on South Maple Grove Road. According to BPD, officers got the report around 11 a.m. on Sunday, but when officers arrived, there was no evidence of gunshots or victims or any gun violence. The suspect who made the call remains unknown.
For Idaho News 6, I'm senior reporter Don Nelson. It may never happen again. 3 high-profile murder cases back to back to back in Ada County. Sheriff Matt Clifford shares how his department dealt with the national spotlight. With more than 1,000 inmates in the Ada County Jail at any given time in a facility intended for fewer than 900, Sheriff Matt Clifford has plenty on his plate. So when 3 high-profile murder cases came to Ada County, there was a lot to take in.
Even though the Kohlberger case was so huge, Lori Vallow probably a little more challenging because that was our first taste of, okay, there are a lot of eyes on this, and we do good business here. We really do. I know I'm a little bit biased, but we do good business here. But we need to make sure nothing goes wrong here.
Vallow and her 5th husband, Chad Daybell, were tried separately for the deaths of Lori's children, JJ and Tylee, and Chad's first wife, Tammy. The trials a year apart.
We did a good job. Now we have a blueprint. Chad Daybell comes, no problems.
From Latah County to Ada County, Clifford said everyone in his department knew this one would be a little different.
Kohlberger showed up, we knew, okay, this is even bigger.
Is this justice?
No.
So we have this blueprint and we have these ways of doing things that worked really well. So let's stick to the blueprint, but it's got to be beefed up kind of on steroids. Every high profile, even if it's just locally high profile, every inmate that is high profile, we have got to keep them away from people because there's going to be someone in that facility, an inmate in that facility that's going to want to do them harm and say, hey, look what I did.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Clifford speaks highly of his entire staff before, during, and after the Kohlberger trial.
Yeah, you're not allowed to talk to TMZ. You're not allowed to take photos or do inappropriate things with these videos. They all understand that this person, even though they're in our jail and has committed this heinous crime, they still have rights like every other inmate that's in there. And I'm super proud of the way they handled everything.
And even though Kohlberger's defense team argued to a plea deal, which prevented a long trial, Sheriff Clifford said they were ready for the long haul.
We had a really great plan. Some of that plan included maybe reaching out to other agencies to say, hey, can you help us with some bodies? Which, we're the largest agency in the state, but that doesn't make us immune to we need help.
Reporting from the Ada County Sheriff's Office, I'm senior reporter Don Nelson, Idaho News 6.
New video over the weekend after last week's chase and police shooting in Caldwell. This is near Birchwood and Pleasant Ridge. You can see the suspect's car narrowly missed a tree and is resting on a neighborhood fence. Caldwell police say around 7:15 Thursday night, an officer tried to pull over a driver near Linden and Indiana. The driver didn't stop, leading officers on a chase. Police say during the chase, the suspect repeatedly shot at officers and ultimately crashed. After the crash, Caldwell police say an officer shot the suspect. No officers were hurt, and Idaho State Police are investigating.
At the latest on vaccine schedules as the Trump administration floats even more changes. A major federal panel just wrapped up its fall meeting, and the updates could impact Idaho families. I'm downtown Boise neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker with what the state's top public health leaders say you need to know.
For decades, the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, known as ACIP, has set the tone for the nation's vaccine schedules. But this year, changes at the federal level and new political pressure are fueling fresh debate.
What changed this year was that a new committee was put into place for starting at the June meeting. So that was a abrupt change, and nobody quite knew what to expect of the new committee.
This quarter, the panel focused on 2 key vaccines, the MMRV, which bundles measles, mumps, rubella, and chickenpox, shots and COVID-19.
So now the committee has decided that they don't recommend that be given at all to babies, and so that option to give that to babies has been removed.
That means infants will still get those immunizations at age 1, but as 2 separate shots. Sepp Hahn says many parents were already following. When it comes to COVID, the recommendation shifts towards what officials call individual decision-making.
They still say anyone 6 months and older can consider getting the COVID vaccine based on risk factors and what they call individual decision-making. But really, the licensure changed this year. Now all the vaccines are fully licensed. There's no more emergency use of the vaccines.
Dr. Christine Hahn with the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare says most Idaho pharmacies will carry the updated vaccine. At the same time, Trump administration officials have suggested the possibility of even broader changes to the childhood vaccine schedule, fueling uncertainty as families weigh their choices. And while the national debate continues, Dr. Hahn says there's one step Idahoans can take right now to protect themselves heading into fall.
Idahoans, that if you get your annual flu shot, now's the time. There's no need to wait any longer.
Dr. Hahn says families should double check vaccine records and consult a provider if they're unsure. I'm downtown Boise neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, Idaho News 6.
After the break, the threat of a government shutdown continues to loom with a deadline tomorrow night. We break down the latest in a few moments.
All right, neighborhood of the day is Boise, where this afternoon you'll be touching into the 80s. Rain chances increase from this afternoon into the evening ahead. And also, I got to take a hike here over the weekend in the foothills. It was nice. My weekly mileage was 24 miles. Now, if you took a hike or went on a walk or got some good photos from the weekend, be sure to send them in on idahonews6.com or to my email, which you can also find on our site.
That is a lot of miles. All right, 14 minutes past the hour, everyone. Let's check on your national headlines this morning, get you up to date. This morning, the FBI is investigating that targeted mass shooting and fire at a Mormon church in Michigan. It happened as hundreds of people were worshiping on Sunday morning. Police say the gunman drove his pickup into the front doors of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and opened fire with an assault rifle. Police say he then set the building on fire. According to police, at least 4 people were killed and 8 others injured. President Trump said Saturday that he'll send troops to Portland, Oregon, authorizing full force, if necessary, to handle domestic terrorists as he expands his deployments to more American cities. Meanwhile, Oregon Democratic Governor Tina Kotek responded by saying Trump is abusing his authority by ordering troops into a city that she said is doing just fine on its own. She was joined by other government, police, and business leaders who all said soldiers are not needed. And Trump is presenting a patently false picture of the city. And President Trump will meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House today. It comes as the death toll has topped 66,000 Palestinians, according to Gaza's health ministry, and international pressure to end the war right now is heavy. Trump has proposed a comprehensive plan reportedly that would include the release of all hostages held by Hamas, and around 20 of them are believed by Israel to be alive. Hamas leaders said on Sunday that it had not received any new proposals for a ceasefire. And this morning, time is running out to avoid a government shutdown. The deadline is tomorrow night. President Trump is expected to meet today with congressional leaders of both parties, with no apparent progress made on spending a plan to keep the government open after tomorrow night. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has details from Washington.
If it has to shut down, it'll have to shut down.
With just hours to go until a potential government shutdown, the president is set to meet with the top 4 congressional leaders to discuss a potential deal.
Our position has been very clear. Cancel the cuts, lower the costs, save health care.
Democrats are demanding a new funding bill that reverses Medicaid cuts and extends expiring Obamacare subsidies to prevent health insurance premiums from rising for millions of Americans. Republicans are pushing for a more simple short-term funding fix to keep the government running until November 20th.
What the Democrats have done here is take the federal government as a hostage.
A shutdown would mean millions of federal employees, including members of the military, TSA officers, and ICE agents would work without pay until the government reopens. And the White House raising the stakes even further, directing agencies to consider mass firings of federal workers from programs that are, quote, not consistent with the president's priorities.
They're trying to intimidate the American people and us.
Democrats argue nearly 22 million Americans could see their monthly health insurance costs nearly double next year if the Obamacare subsidies are not extended. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
This November, voters in Meridian will decide on a public safety levy. And I have more from city leaders on what the effects could be for public safety in Meridian if the levy does not pass.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
All right, everybody, it is Monday morning. We're making our way through it together. And if you woke up this morning, it's going to be a good day. You'll notice that it is going to feel a lot chillier as you wake up and head out the door. A lot of this being because of this cold front that's approaching. Showers from Washington down to Oregon. So a lot of this is going to increase the cloud coverage as we head through our later end of the day, and also those rain chances. But for the start of the day, it'll be pretty quiet. Now, thunderstorm chances are area-wide. So as you make your way up towards Lewiston, down into eastern Idaho, all of us have the potential today to see storms. A lot of it being because of that warm surface, really, air that's just, again, keeping us at this 80s, upper 70s. We saw it over the weekend. It was obviously a very good weekend. I hope you spent some time outdoors. Now, today and this afternoon, not very many changes on the thermometer just yet. 79 in Boise, 81 over in Mountain Home. As we head through the next couple days, we are going to see the return of sweater weather. So some exciting weather is on the way. We're finally getting out of that dry and warm pattern, and we're starting to actually see some real weather take place. So for today, still about 79. Tomorrow, we slowly see temperatures drop towards those mid-70s, lower 70s by Wednesday, and then over the weekend, that's when the really nice fall-like weather makes a return. And finally, it's just going to feel like fall, which is how it should be feeling because we are in fall. But either way, you'll notice that it's not happening just yet. It's pretty quiet out there, so no impacts to your morning commute or really the afternoon one. We'll start to see a lot of that heavier rain move in overnight. But the one thing you will notice is that winds will increase. So carry the hair tie with you today, ladies, maybe even cap weather for some of you. Notice that it continues to increase heading into the later evening. So this is by 9 o'clock. You get gusts upwards towards 20 miles per hour, and then it grows more consistent into Tuesday afternoon. So that's when you start to see a lot of those wind gusts increase steadily towards that 20-mile-per-hour mark throughout the day. Giving you a closer look at this is going to bring on a few isolated showers as we head into lunchtime. It's very quick and fleeting, and then into later tonight, this is when all the heavier rain comes from Mountain Home up to Idaho City, Cascade, even McCall into 8 o'clock. So if you have any late evening plans, or maybe you're planning to do anything outside at the time, maybe going for a run, you're going to want to wear the raincoat or make that trip earlier out in the day. By Tuesday afternoon, a lot of this scatters over into the Magic Valley, and we see mostly quiet conditions, and then that next round of light showers moves through Wednesday morning. So it's going to be unsettled to start the week, and a lot of it is just going to bring us around towards that cooler mark that we really like for our fall weather. Either way, you get those lower 70s into Wednesday and then mid 60s into the weekend, so sweater weather is just around the corner.
I'm Meridian neighborhood reporter Ali Tripke, and this November, voters in Meridian will decide on a public safety levy that will fund first responder positions in the city's new prosecution team. And I have more from public safety leaders in the city about what they want neighbors to know.
The levy would generate more than $5 million each year, supporting a new prosecution unit and boosting police officer salaries to stay competitive.
If we lose an officer that's been here for 3 years, you're looking at probably a loss of around $250,000 to $300,000.
Retention is key, as officials say turnover could affect response times.
Then you have to train somebody up back to the level, which takes probably almost a year to get them out on the road by themselves.
The levy would also keep more than a dozen firefighters currently funded by a federal SAFER grant that's set to expire. Fire Chief Chris Bloom says losing them would be a major setback.
The Meridian Fire Department will be forced to look differently, which I really don't think by any national standard we can afford to do. We're currently sitting at about 127 members. And the best case scenario on a national standard basis would be 2 firefighters per 1,000 residents, which would mean we need to be an agency of about 280 firefighters. We're not even half of that.
Fewer responders, he says, could also put existing staff at greater risk during calls. City Attorney Bill Neary says adding an in-house legal team for Meridian's misdemeanor prosecution, rather than continuing to contract through Boise, could provide transparency.
Right now, when they call or they have a contact or a concern, we really can't provide any great level of assistance.
A proactive addition as a growing population has increased their caseload.
Our own folks, our own people controlling how we do things, what we do things, and when they have concerns or issues, they can come to us.
Because this is a permanent levy, it will require 60% voter approval in November.
For voters who are looking to learn more, throughout early October, there will be several open houses at fire stations across Meridian. I'm Meridian neighborhood reporter Ali Tripke for Idaho News 6.
We take you to open streets on U-Stick Road in Boise. I'm here on U-Stick Road, where normally this street would be bustling with traffic. I'm your neighborhood reporter, Steve Denton. That's not the case today. It's filled with bikers and pedestrians for open streets. For the second year in a row, the Boise Bicycle Project hosts open streets with support from the city of Boise, who awarded a grant to the Winstead Park Neighborhood Association to bring a block party to this part of town.
And we've invited our community to come out to walk, bike, rollerblade, just enjoy what this space feels like. How are you? Good to see you.
It's an idea to bring everyone together in a different way by closing the streets to cars and creating a place for people to meet their neighbors and ride in new areas of the city.
We're asking the community to sort of reimagine our streets, our public spaces, and they are meant to be enjoyed by all types of people, not just cars. We're not anti-car by any means. We're pro-people, and so people should feel empowered to move safely through their communities in whatever mode of transportation makes sense for them.
Next year, open streets will happen in the Collister neighborhood as the Boise Bicycle Project continues to try and make Boise a more bike-friendly city. I'm your neighborhood reporter, Steve Dent, for Idaho News 6.
And thanks for joining us this morning on Good Morning Idaho. Hope you're off to a good start on this Monday. We've got a lot more in store in our last half hour today. Here's a look at what's still to come from your neighborhood reporters.
In downtown Boise, a pipe leak causing major backup.
In Caldwell, a major bridge and lane closures is underway in downtown.
Connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
And welcome back to Good Morning Idaho. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. Good to have you along, everyone. Much more ahead from our large team of neighborhood reporters on this Monday. Like our Isaiah Sharp, he's breaking down the major traffic headache in downtown Boise after a geothermal pipe broke, reducing lanes on one of the city's busiest streets. Also this morning, a signature victory for the Broncos, putting the beat down on App State. We're going to bring you a recap plus a special profile from our Ali Tripke on those really cool custom helmets that they wore. All that and much more is still to come. But first, let's get in the weather and check in with Sophia Cruz on a Monday. It's looking nice in the morning, at least.
Yeah, the morning looks really good. So for all the runners, walks, or just maybe you want to take that doggo on a walk this morning, it is going to be the perfect start to the day. Nice and cool. Lower 60s waking up. Notice that shower chances and storm chances increase into lunchtime, just at about 30%. And at that time, we're sitting in the 70s. We stop at the 80s. But again, we will look at a higher chance for storms heading into the later afternoon and evening ahead. So throughout it, 7 o'clock, we're still sitting in those lower 70s. There's not really too much change temperature-wise just yet, but those showers and storms are going to follow us into overnight. So we'll be taking a look as to what this looks like for your day ahead and also just the week, because it's actually going to feel like fall this week, Roland.
Interesting way to start off the week. Thanks, Sophia. Appreciate it. We turn now to that geothermal line break in downtown Boise. Our Isaiah Sharp has been keeping an eye on it. He spoke with a nearby business about the impact.
Broken pipes causing backup. I'm Isaiah Sharp here in downtown Boise, where one of the city's major roadways to the Capitol building is closed for at least a week due to a geothermal pipe leak.
It's eerily quiet, you know, when you look out front and you don't see cars running by. I mean, there's lots of noise and there's trucks parked in front of me, which is not normal. But you don't have the traffic.
Randy Van Dyke is the owner of a frame design store and art gallery on Capitol Boulevard. But in the last couple of days, his eyes, usually focused on paintings, now are on construction outside.
I just saw the trucks. I walked down to see what was happening. You could see water seeping up out of the ground. So I didn't think too much about it. And then, of course, now it's 2 days later, and they're really tearing it apart trying to get to it.
A geothermal pipe below Myrtle and Capitol is being replaced, and after initial review, needs more work and won't be complete until October 3rd. I reached out to the city of Boise to see if there's any impact on other projects in the area, and they say it's causing some minor delays to the streetscaping construction just south of this new construction zone. Van Dyke says it's an expected burden when working in downtown Boise.
At some point, you are going to be inconvenienced by the construction that's going on around you. It's part of when you have this much growth in a city, it kind of comes with the territory.
A fire that sparked yesterday northeast of Ketchum has now triggered some residents to be on ready evacuation status this morning. The Lake Creek fire now burning 300 acres, and according to the Blaine County Sheriff's Office, that ready status applies to residents living on the east side of Highway 75 from Lake Creek Road to Eagle Creek Road. New photos show crews working to remove a truck from the Payette River after a deadly crash last week. As we've reported, a 45-year-old Caldwell man died in that crash. Idaho Backwoods neighborhood reporter Steve Dent spoke with Idaho Mountain Search Rescue to learn more about the tragic event and their complex effort to recover that man. The all-volunteer team is one of the most tenured rescue operations in the country, and you can watch Steve's full story on our website, idahonews6.com.
Driving into downtown Caldwell, you might see signs near Kimball and Blaine Street as a major bridge and lane closures is underway. I'm your Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis talking to the city as to why this project will take months to complete and how local businesses are reacting. A bridge hidden in plain sight in Caldwell is getting a major makeover.
We're required to conduct bridge inspections, and this bridge was identified as reaching the end of its useful life.
The Kimball Bridge was built in the 1930s, and the second was built in the 1970s.
This bridge in particular, there's different levels of concrete that were installed at different times, so it was deemed just best to replace it entirely versus perform any integrated structural components to it.
We're just adding another layer of concrete.
Right, yeah. Which is kind of what's already been done.
The project has been in the works for years, and the city says it can't wait any longer. The nearly $3.6 million project funded through the state will begin this fall, bringing in a bridge closure, but also closing down lanes until summer of 2026.
For the majority of the project, there's going to be 2 lanes open on Blaine. There will be a concrete barrier restricting access to that lane with a tapered zone coming from 9th Avenue. And there will also be fencing in addition to that. And the fencing will stretch to the work zone limits so that workers can get in and out with their trucks safely.
Local businesses around the area are concerned about the closure and the impact it may have during the holidays.
Well, it needs to be replaced. The bridge is in massive disarray, and for the safety of the citizens of Caldwell, it needs to be replaced.
While it is inconvenient having the bridge closed down, it's also just very necessary.
As for the detours, the city has been working to help everyone get around safely through the project and the most wonderful time of the year.
We're going to provide a ton of signage for alternate routes for the public if they need to access downtown. We've really tried to make the public aware, especially impacted local businesses, of what's happening.
City officials say keeping this project on track is top priority, as is ensuring the safety of community members and visitors during the holidays. I'll continue to update you on this project right here on idahonews6.com. I'm your Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis for Idaho News 6.
Many students work after school, but here in Nampa, students are actually getting paid for work they do during school hours. I'm your Nampa neighborhood reporter Keith Burrell, learning about the apprenticeship program that gets students real-world working experience while repairing classmates' devices.
On top of the day-to-day classroom curriculum in the Nampa School District is a unique program that puts technology support directly in students' hands. The district's help desk supervisor, Lori Nutting, tells me the idea sparked before COVID, but the pandemic showed just how helpful it could be.
So although we have been doing some sort of student support of devices prior, we have had this program as it is for 5 years.
Now, a handful of students in Nampa middle and high schools are trained to staff help desks on their own campuses, troubleshooting with fellow students, creating work orders, and getting broken devices swapped out quickly so classmates can keep up on assignments.
The ticket has a number which is connected to an electronic ticket, basically, and that will give us more detailed information. And then we usually look over the device too, and that'll tell us what's wrong and what steps we need to take to repair it.
And Lori tells me that one of the best parts of the program is seeing students not only gain technical skills, but social skills and growing out of their comfort zone. From Columbia High, I'm your Nampa neighborhood reporter, Keith Burrell for Idaho News 6.
The Boise State Broncos put together their third consecutive win of the season on Saturday, trampling App State 47-14. Bronco quarterback Maddox Madsen was spectacular in the victory, throwing for a career-high 321 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Broncos utilized a balanced attack on the ground, creating 152 rushing yards in the contest. Sire Gaines led the way, recording 69 yards on 12 carries. Malik Sherrod added 49 yards, and Dylan Riley finished with 46 on the night. Our Allie Tripke was at the game and highlights the unique custom-designed helmets worn by the Broncos.
Dazzling the blue here at Albertson Stadium, your Boise State Broncos are showing their Idaho pride with some Gem State-themed helmets. I'm Boise State neighborhood reporter Allie Tripke with more from the artists who handmade over 150 of these helmets.
From inspiration to Saturday's kickoff, it's been nearly a year in the making for these helmets to finally hit the blue.
When you get out onto the field and see the players wearing them, it's emotional.
Nebraska native Armando Villarreal is the artist behind the design. He handcrafted the helmets that the Broncos are sporting as they play App State. Each piece a tribute to Idaho and its capital city.
The Bronco, of course, was the main focus of it. Of course, we had to have Albertson Stadium in the back, the state capitol, the foothills, and then the city of trees.
Between sanding down the base and putting on the last paint layers, hours of hustle are put into each of these helmets. A process that Villarreal says can get monotonous, but once they're in action, that's a touchdown moment for him.
It makes everything so worth it at the end of the day, and so to see him on the field and the fan reaction and everything, it's every one of them is special and every one of them is overwhelming, and it's just, I'm very fortunate with what I do.
And the helmets are scoring big with Bronco fans.
Awesome representation of the city and the state and the colors and the history of the team. I hope I can get one. That's my goal. Go Broncos.
Villarreal tells me that while he had no ties to Idaho before this project, he's now hoping to make Boise State a part of his next game plan. I'm Boise State neighborhood reporter Allie Tripke for Idaho News 6.
After a relatively quiet first 3 NFL games, Raiders running back Ashton Jeanty was the playmaker on Sunday, taking 21 carries for 138 yards, including a 64-yard touchdown run and 2 touchdown catches against the Bears. Jeanty returned to his signature Michael Myers pre-snap stance and looked unstoppable out there. Unfortunately for the Raiders, Geno Smith threw for 3 interceptions, and Chicago rallied to hand the Raiders their 3rd straight defeat, 24-25. And Idaho News 6 is your home for Monday Night Football. Tonight, the Bengals take on the Broncos in Denver, and it's looking to be an interesting one. The 2-1 Bengals playing without their star quarterback, and the 1-2 Broncos hoping to gain some momentum after close losses in back-to-back weeks. Kickoff is set for 6:15 tonight, only on Idaho News 6.
At this Twin Falls school, how new adaptive equipment will help make recess more enjoyable for all. Recess is the best part of the school day for a lot of students, but not all kids can play on all the equipment. I'm your Twin Falls neighborhood reporter Lori Nettleton at Harrison Elementary, learning how a new adaptive playground going in will help kids with mobility challenges join in all the fun and games.
Play is an important part of social, physical, and mental development. But for students like JJ Comer, tetherball and other playground activities can be just out of reach. That's why the Harrison Elementary 3rd grader is totally stoked for the construction work that started this week. JJ loves recess, but his mobility issues limit how much of the playground he can use.
To be able to watch those kids get to play with their same age peers out at recess is going to be a huge benefit to them.
Playgrounds and the school playground is really the building block where kids learn so many skills, social skills, motor skills.
In just a few weeks, JJ and other students will be able to play with their friends on a level surface, literally.
And one of the little girls just came up and said, "Are we going to have a ramp? Can our friends go up it with us?"
The school will host a grand opening for the new equipment on October 16th. I'm your Twin Falls neighborhood reporter, Lori in Nettleton, Idaho News 6.
Grocery bills are rising, and now Idaho Republicans want to use a process they're generally opposed to eliminate the state grocery tax. Critics call the move hypocritical, but supporters say it's common sense. I'll explain the battle to lower your grocery bill tomorrow morning at 6:45, only on Good Morning Idaho.
All right, good Monday morning, Boise. You're our neighborhood of the day, where this afternoon we'll be touching into the lower 80s, slight chance of showers increasing into the later evening tonight. I'll have those details for you. Also, I did a hike here this weekend at the Boise foothills. If you took any photos from your weekend, send them in on idahonews6.com or to my email.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
All right, it is 6:48 and happy Monday to you. I hope you're having a good start to your morning and that you had a restful weekend. Now, as we get ready to tackle on the day together, especially our Monday, not very many changes temperature-wise. We're still in those upper 70s along your valley floors, some mid-80s in Glens Ferry, mid-70s to follow in our mountains. And as we head through the next couple days, we are going to see that return of sweater weather. So how nice is that? As we make our way into Tuesday and Wednesday, we're still sitting in those lower 70s, but it's as we head into the weekend, we start to see those mid to lower 60s. And the biggest reason we're seeing this is because we have a lot of cooler weather making its way through the week ahead. The first starting with a cold front. Now, this is going to arrive into the later afternoon and evening. As it does, it's already bringing some showers from Washington down into Oregon. For us, it'll increase that cloud coverage, but walking you through the next couple hours, notice into 12 o'clock today, we start to see these scattered showers. They're very light to start. And then as we head into the later end of the day, you'll notice that by 8 o'clock, this is going to grow way heavier than what we see during the day. So the daytime, not very many effects. It's later this evening and into tonight where we see that heavier rain move through. By Tuesday morning, no impacts to your morning commute, so that should be okay right there. But moving through the later end, we aren't done with the rain just yet. You'll want to keep the umbrella with you, especially if you're in the Magic Valley, anywhere from Fairfield down to Jerome or Twin Falls, Idaho City, even seeing an isolated shower. Wednesday morning, the same story goes again. It looks like we'll even see that chance for a dusting of snow at our higher ridge tops. We get an occluded front that moves through Wednesday, so that cool weather continuing to influx through the area. By 6 o'clock, another chance of rain into Wednesday. So it's very unsettled through the week ahead. So just a heads up, it's best to prepare by just keeping the umbrella with you through at least Wednesday. On top of the rain, we also will see some gusty winds. So this goes all the way to 10 o'clock tonight. We're gusted just about 15 miles per hour. Tomorrow, they're a bit more steady. We start to see them grow towards that 24 mark. So breezy winds today and tomorrow as this front passes through. Another thing, locally heavy downpour. So a lot of us will see some really good rain within the next couple days. Now this shows our GFS model all the way through Wednesday, so 9 o'clock. It's bringing up anywhere from half of an inch over to an inch of rainfall in our mountains. Some spots even growing a little bit more, just about almost near an inch and a half in Stanley. For our valley floors, this is going to be anywhere from a quarter to an inch. So heads up, we are expecting heavier rain to move through overnight tonight. And as we head into Tuesday, the rain chances really appear very minimal. Either way, it's still going to be a good week ahead, and it's just a nice change up on our weather. You get those mid-60s into Thursday through the weekend. The 60s continue on, and the sweater weather is now back as we head into fall together. All right, it's 6:51, so let's get you ready to head into work and school.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
All right, we're giving you a live look of downtown right now where commuters are heading out pretty early on their Monday morning. If you are, it is looking pretty quiet out there. We haven't seen too much change just yet. A little slowdown on I-84 eastbound, but no surprises there. And this was supposed to be a photo of I-84 at Garrity, but it looks like it's still Monday and it's not waking up just yet. All right, across North Star Road, still looking pretty nice and quiet. Chinden Boulevard, also another quiet spot, but a little slow up if you're heading on to Highway 16.
Outside from the Treasure Valley Chevy Dealers Tower Cam.
morning's GMA First Look, a startling new development in the alleged plot to cripple American telecommunication systems. Sources say federal agents found 200,000 more SIM cards at a location in New Jersey, double the 100,000 SIM cards, along with hundreds of servers that were seized at 5 other vacant offices and apartments in and around New York City. Authorities are now racing to track down who rented the spaces and filled them with shelves full of gear they say is capable of sending anonymous text messages every minute.
The potential threat these data centers pose to the public could include shutting down critical resources that the public needs, like the 911 system, or potentially impacting the public's ability to communicate everything, including business transactions.
And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have the very latest on this urgent investigation. With your GMA First Look, I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
5 minutes before the hour, welcome back to Good Morning Idaho on this Monday. We're just starting to wrap things up here. In case you missed it, here are the top stories that we're following from our neighborhood reporters.
Boise State's new helmets are turning the blue into a work of art. And I have more from the artist who painted Idaho pride into every detail.
From inspiration to Saturday's kickoff. It's been nearly a year in the making for these helmets to finally hit the blue. Nebraska native Armando Villarreal is the artist behind the design. He handcrafted the helmets that the Broncos are sporting as they play App State.
In Caldwell, a major bridge and lane closures is underway in downtown. The Kimball Bridge, built in the 1930s and expanded in the 1970s, will be completely replaced in a state-funded project that will reduce Blaine Street to 2 lanes.
I'm here on U-Stick Road, where normally this street would be bustling with traffic.
But that wasn't the case on Sunday when the Boise Bicycle Project hosted Open Streets. This marks the 2nd year of the event, as it happens with the support of the city to provide a grant to a neighborhood who applies to shut down a road and turn it into a block party without vehicles.
And of course, you can learn more about all of these stories on our website. Just head to idahonews6.com.
Now, the Out the Door forecast, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors.
All right, let's get you ready for your Monday and to head out the door. Don't forget the umbrella. It's pretty quiet to start the day. You'll want the light jacket. Mid-60s, not very many changes coming till we head to 1 o'clock and throughout the later afternoon. You'll notice even late evening, we'll start to see more rain grow widespread as we head into our Monday. If you want to read more about the forecast, head on over to idahonews6.com because there is more rain on the way. We're going to go ahead now and head on over to your roads.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
All right, it is 6:57 and we are giving you a live look of downtown where people are heading out to tackle their Monday. I know it's a little bit harder because it is a Monday, but we're getting through it together. As we do so, there is a little slope on I-84 eastbound, so just a heads up on that front. Also, Karcher Road, if you're heading in that westbound lane, another area of slowdown. So if you're traveling in that direction, just again, give yourself some extra time. Y eastbound looks pretty quiet this morning, so you should run into no troubles there. I-84 eastbound Caldwell to Garrity at just 13 minutes right now. Garrity to Eagle under 10, and Eagle into downtown Boise also coming in at under 7. So it's a nice time to head out on a Monday morning right now, Roland, especially because last week was so busy.
Right, exactly. It's actually looking pretty good. We finished with a little bit of football. First of all, my Ducks, by the way, are number 2 in the country after beating Penn State. But then we also know that Bad Bunny is going to be hosting the halftime show for Super Bowl 60.
I thought it was going to be Taylor Swift.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, she's releasing a new album this Friday. Bad Bunny, I'm sure will be great too, but I'm more of a Swiftie, and I kind of wish it was someone else. Is that bad?
Yeah, we might need a jacket like that right there soon.
Yeah, you know, that's not my style, but I'd like to see you in that.
Would you?
Yeah.
All right, if I could talk to Bad Bunny, we'll see if we can work that out. That'll happen, never.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for joining us, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your Monday out there. Don't forget the umbrella, everyone, later this afternoon.